Good evening.
Good evening, Walid. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
Great. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Osama, I wish you all the best for this day and this night and this week and the upcoming week. This is the preparation for IELTS. First of all, thank you so much for taking the initiative to take the test. Have you registered for the test?
Yes, I registered, and also I paid the fees. And I got a confirmation from the eilts center also.
For what day?
The first package, which is writing, listening, reading, it will be at August 21 from the early morning. It will be 8:45 early morning, and the speaking will be after 2 days from that date.
No worries about speaking.
Yeah, it will be at August 23, face-to-face.
23rd.
Yeah, 23rd.
From now on, I'll be more stringent and strict with you regarding any grammar or any...
I would like you to be that.
Okay. Osama, listening is one of the interesting and entertaining aspects of IELTS.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll walk you through the technical stuff of the software, but let me turn off my phone. The software program that I sent you here is quite interesting because it gives you a simulation of the test.
Okay.
It works offline and you can take it multiple times. To the point that you feel ready for the test. Now, we have other tests that we can do online, but this works offline on your computer. So you download the application. Once you download the application, then there is going to be a few instructions that will pop up on the screen that will just notify you to do certain steps to start the test. So I'll just walk you through the technical items here, and then we'll shift to tips and instructions for the IELTS section. Let me lower the fan because it's just making noise. I think rumbling noise. Do you hear rumbling noise in my voice?
No, your voice is very clear.
Is very clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, first of all, I really believe that technology can be a very good assistant to helping you understand the pattern, mechanism, and the content of the test. Yeah. That's why I tried my best actually to find any software online. There's very rare cases of applications that offer offline training for IELTS. Because it's a classic, everything is available online, everything is accessible online. The reason I don't like the other style of tests that we do online is because I want something that works off the internet. So there's no internet, you can install it on your computer, you can repeat it multiple times just to get you used as a habit to take the test. So once here you see the screen, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to put it on the full screen. You can just minimize it and make it look like this. So it's going to work quite simply like this. So you start the test. This is just the listening section here. So you can start the test. There are listening tutorials. So it walks you through the listening test. It gives you instructions before you take the listening test. There's reading a tutorial for the reading test. And there's writing tutorial for the writing test. And there's speaking test as videos. So it's a full package that took me some time to find it. But I delayed giving this to you just because we haven't gotten to the listening section. I just wanted to gradually scale up and graduate to listening once we finish that. But since you're in a hurry, let's get this done. So once you start, I'm not going to give you an I'm going to talk about the listening tutorial later, but now I'm just showing you a simulation here of this section. You can increase the volume here and minimize it. I recommend you put it on maximum.
Yeah.
Part here on the maximum level. There are usually 10 tips that we recommend for the listening section. Tip number one is to always look at the space and try to guess whether the space demands a noun, an adjective, or an adverb or a verb. Because sometimes just looking at the structure of the sentence is going to give you a sense of what is required as a noun, as an adjective, as an adverb, or as a verb, or sometimes even a preposition or a number.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful about spelling, because spelling mistakes are considered wrong answers.
Okay.
So if you write houses instead of house, that is a wrong answer. If the answer requires you to write house, that's part of the accuracy of the listening. Now, you need to engage, as we say in English, to plug in, check it.
Yeah.
You need to plug in yourself in this situation. You need to live with them as if you are one of them. Like as if you're talking to me right now. You see me, right? I'm shouting on your face. So you just need to imagine that you're part of the situation. That is going to give you a better chance to respond better to the questions here. Listening is a passive skill, mahara khamila. So you just need to make it as active as possible by either responding by yourself, trying to engage yourself in the conversation and saying either yes or no, and never wander. يعني لا تحاول انه يعني ايش نسميها الواندر هنا، لا تحاول تبدي تأملات او انه تفكر بشيء ثاني، فقط في السكشن مالت الليسننج، لانه دائما واحد اذا باله متشتت ما راح يركز، ممكن يجي على غفله عبر عليك 30 ثانيه في ثواني هذا. Word indicators are really essential. The one that I mentioned here, like transitioning from one sentence to another. They're very tricky because sometimes they say, well, my address is 831-917 Martin Street. I'm sorry, Lincoln Street. So once you're listening and you're engaged, you will be writing Martin, but the right answer is Lincoln.
This is one of the problems that I have faced in the test, this sample of test that I have shared
because
with
you answer in hurry. You just need to slow a little bit down and ensure that you listen to everything the speaker says before you just directly, because this is the trick.
But the name, the addresses, the name of the addresses, like Berkshire or Whitefield, something like that, the name of the streets in London, I cannot, because they are very speaking very speedily. Yeah. And also their accent, I cannot catch them, what they are talking about, and cannot write or spell right the name of the place they are talking about. That's one of the problem.
Sama, for the accents, the test designers bring people from all nationalities to have them record their voices. So it's not only British English, it's a combination of all other accents in English, just because they do not want to be biased to British English. So they bring people from Australia, from Canada, from the United States. So it's not only restricted to English, if this is what you mean. Second, if they mention an address, they will spell it out. So they will say, I work in Yorkshire. So Yorkshire, WORKSHIRE.
Yeah,
that's how it should be spelled out. Don't write don't write. I think my tip is don't write your answers quickly for the space or the section. Don't write it quickly because they do auto correction. So they intentionally do that kind of trick just to trick you. I would say, Osama, where do you live? You would say, I live in south of Baghdad. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant north of Baghdad. Now we are going to write south, but the right answer is north. Just 2 or 3 seconds later, they mentioned that. You can write your answers not on the answer sheet, but on a separate sheet and transfer the answers to the final sheet. But I think my recommendation is do not leave any space unfilled. I made a great mistake because I consider it as a milestone, actually. When I took the test, I got 5.5 in IELTS listening. And it was because of a big mistake I made. I thought that I can answer the questions after I finished the listening. So I spent the whole time listening without providing any answers. So when the listening recording was over, they just shifted to the next skill. And I was surprised because they only gave us some time to transfer the answers. So based on my memory, I just recalled parts of the events and I filled in the listening section. I got 5.5, even though I didn't provide probably half of the correct answers, just because I thought that the answers should not be simultaneous here. So continuing here, we can just click continue. There's, if you put the screen on full here, it's not going to work. Some of the applications might not work. So you just need to minimize it by hitting escape on the keyboard, and then you start the test. So let's get started. This is just a demonstration. I am, to be honest, not sure if you will be able to listen to the recording.
No, I heard it very, very clearly and with loud voice. It's very good.
Okay, perfect. Let me just see, because I like actually to do let's be patient here. Stop recording. Okay, so let's get started.
You'll hear 4 different recordings and you'll have to answer questions on what you hear.
Okay, perfect. Now, what's interesting in IELTS is now, do you see the screen? Can you just confirm the screen?
Yeah, I confirm that. I can see it.
Where am I pointing the mouse cursor right now?
On the number 2.
Okay, perfect.
Date of birth.
Okay, so we are on the same page here. What we are going to do here, we're just listen and analyze the kind of language that they are going to say. There are 4 kind of recordings, and for every section of these recordings, there is a different style of answers and different set of information and data you have to look for. Ultimately, we have 40 questions. We can click on part 4. This is the application that I sent to you, Osama. That's why you have this recording offline on the application. So it's quite interesting that you keep practicing on this application. Of course, it's not paper-based, but it gives you an idea. So we have part 4, questions from 31 to 40. Remember that
after I finish, Walid, it will give me a score.
Well, I have encountered few problems with the score, but I don't care about the score, to be honest. I care about understanding the concept of the test. We have other tests that we can take and get a score for. But what I'm looking for here is the procedure, like how we go about understanding every section of the listening sections. We'll talk a lot about that now, but for now, this is just the technical part of the application that I sent you, Osama. So you see here, these are the 40 questions. And then we can shift back here to this section, and then
section 1,
part 2, and then part 3, and then part 4. And I expect you to have some difficulty with this application in the beginning, because it might not be quite clear to you. However,
Mhm.
our purpose actually is to practice listening, understanding what they say, repeat what they say, and then
Yeah.
trying to understand the theory behind the 4 sections. And then we'll go back to the manuals and give you some feedback about that later if we have
Okay.
enough time tonight. Okay, good. So let's get to part 1 here.
Let's start.
By the way, the
Naam.
well, if you, I think this is something that we talked a lot about before.
Yeah.
You remember when I told you that sometimes the difference between 31 and the difference between 7 and 7.5 is only 2 points here. 7.5 to 8.
You are talking about the total score, 7
Yes.
and 7.5. Yeah,
And
okay.
36 to 8 to 38, that's 8.5. And 38 to 40 is 9. So it's only 2 answers that determine whether you get 7.5 or 8. So only 2 answers that determine.
In each test, you mean in each test, in writing, in reading, in listening?
In listening,
Okay.
in reading. Only. Writing is determined by people, administrators, and speaking is determined by people. And writing is not subject to 40 questions category. We just based that on different rubrics that I sent to you, which is lexical diversity, cohesion and coherence, grammatical range and accuracy, and vocabulary range. Well, yeah, vocabulary range.
Yeah.
This is the listening test for top tips for IELTS. You'll hear 4 different recordings and you'll have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions.
You will see here that the timer has just started, so it's 23 minutes.
And you'll have a chance to check your work. In the real exam, you'll hear each recording once only. In this practice test, you can play the recordings as many times as you want.
Okay, perfect. So it's clearly stated here that in the listening section, the final test, it's going to be replayed. It's going to be played once, but now we can play it back from the beginning as many as we can. It's just a matter of practicing here.
Okay.
This is the listening test for top tips for IELTS. There will be time for you to read, and you'll have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you'll have a chance to check your work. In the real exam, you'll hear each recording once only. In this practice test, you can play the recordings as many times as you want. The test is in 4 parts. At the end of the test, you'll be given 2 minutes to check all of your answers.
Okay, so you will be given 4 minutes to check your answers, correct?
Yeah. No, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yes, 2 minutes.
2
Okay,
minutes.
perfect.
Part 1. You'll hear a woman telephoning a job agency about temporary summer work.
Okay, so in British English, they do not say calling. They're saying telephoning. Okay. Now, it's going to be a conversation via telephone, via phone, between an agency and a person, usually talking about specific things or requesting something or ordering something like a pizza or delivering back something or inquiring about a situation. So you need to imagine yourself that you are either the speaker or the agency representative.
Yeah.
To give a better optimal answer to the questions here. Section 1 is the easiest. Section 4 is the most challenging because they talk about either a topic that has to do with school or a part of a lecture that requires you a little bit of analytical skills and understanding reading between the lines. And part 2 and part 3 is either interviews or a lecture with questions to students.
Okay.
You asked me a very valid question of whether this is an academic test and whether it's going to be useful for you for the general test. The answer is definitely yes, because in concept they are the same, just the kind of topics that they choose are different. For academic tests, they choose academic topics, and for general purpose tests, they choose general purpose tests. Which one is harder? They're both easy if we understand the tricks for them. Everything has a secret.
First, you have some time to look at questions.
Please.
Say it again.
I have a question, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Always at the beginning of the listening test, the recording telling me that I have a time, maybe 30 seconds to have a look on the questions. So always I'm trying to prepare a sheet of paper and listing the number of the questions. For example, like this page, which has 7 questions. I'm trying to listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and then have a look, quickly look on the questions. Then when the recording starts, I'm trying to make a matching between the question 1 and the answer that they are mentioning in the recording. Is that right?
No, that's not technically accurate 100% as a strategy to understand how you are going to respond better to this kind of questions. What you need to do is something that they don't tell you about. What you need to do is to understand what they are looking for in the spaces here. Like, for example, her name, first name is Lily, and then on the surname, he's of course going to ask
on the surname.
Yeah, so when I am listening, I will keep in my mind that whenever I hear something that has to do with surname, I have to plug it in here. For date of birth, she's going probably to say, but remember everything they say is to trick you. Everything they say is to trick you. So you need to make sure that you decide whether they say is clear or not, or corrected. So for the date of birth, we have 2 options. She's not going to say that directly. She's going to say, well, probably I don't remember do you see me?
Yeah, I see.
She's going to say, well, I'm sorry, I just forgot my date of birth. It's on the 1st of August. Sorry, it's the 30th of September, 1983.
Yeah.
شو وقت عيد ميلادي؟
13th of September, 1993.
Okay. So that's what she's going to say here. Now, when temporary work requirements, they're going to talk about the duration or the longevity of the work, the starting point of the work and the ending point of the work. So it's going to be between June and sometime. So I need to keep in mind that it's going to be August, September, October, November, and December.
Yeah.
Where work wanted, that's going to be the location or location. Type of work wanted. First priority, that's the job title. So they are either going to where it's a work application work. So they are going to look for job titles. That's what you need to do. Assume based on the structure of these, just I said before, think what is supposed to be written here. Like, for example, for June 2, I'm not expecting here to write a verb. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
So the category of verbs are excluded. The category of adjectives are excluded. The category of adverbs are excluded. Only the category of nouns. And for nouns, time between August and December. Just because it's from June to, we don't know, maybe to
Another
the next
month.
We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know, but we're assuming that and it's just matching to make it correct. So once you do that, the answers is going to be very straightforward. Let's try the listening. And that's why this application is helpful. If you try the online ones, they keep the timer on sometimes, and it's really hard to go back and refresh the browser sometimes, you know, but this one, it helps you understand the context of it.
Questions 1 to 7.
Now we're just going to focus on questions 1 to 7.
Yeah.
That's question 7, question 1.
Yeah.
Let me see if it's moving or not, because they usually start a conversation here.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
You notice that the waiting time that is given to you right now is the time for you to look at the questions.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Harper Holiday Job Agency. How may I help you?
Now he's saying to her good morning. Correct?
Yeah. Good afternoon. He said good afternoon.
You gotta listen back again.
Hi, I'd like to find a job for this summer if possible.
Okay, so summer here is not indicated in months. She's indicating, of course, summer is gonna be between June and
June, September.
No. September.
Yeah.
So they are tricking you. They're saying summer, but in the text here that is using the word June. See, they're using synonyms, but they're not telling you that. Now, when you are listening, you're thinking of hearing August or September or something like that, but you might not hear it. You're going to hear summer, which is really tricky, you know, but you need to understand this protocol so that once you have this immunity against this kind of tricks, it's going to be very easy.
If they will not mention the exactly month, I have to write in that blank of number 3, September, because this is the period of summer in London.
The first 7 questions are the easiest. So you'll just answer them like a piece of cake.
Certainly.
Okay.
Let me take some details and I'll fill in a form on my computer. So, your first name, please.
It's Lily.
Thank you, Lily. And could you give me your surname now, please?
It's Claremont. That's spelt C-L-A-R-E-M-O-N-T.
Is that last letter T for Tango?
Yes.
Okay, I've got that. Now,
Okay. Now we go back here.
afraid I need to ask you for your first name, please.
It's Lily.
Thank you, Lily. And could you give me your...
Are you with me, Osama?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. هسه سمعت الإجابة مالتها.
نعم. Claremont. C-L-A-I-E-M-O-N-T.
surname now, please.
It's Claremont. That's spelt C-L-A-R-E-M-O-N-T.
Is that last letter T for Tango?
So it's Claremont.
Why? Look at the R. How she pronounced the R. Ah.
Yeah, well, that's
something tricky.
It's tricky.
I thought it's I.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I've got that. Now, I'm afraid I need to ask you for your date of birth, please.
No problem. It's 23/4/89.
Uh-huh. Osama, what's her birthday?
I couldn't catch that.
Why?
23.
Why?
Oh, right. I'll fill in a form on my
She said 23.
I'm asking you.
computer. So, your first name, please.
It's Lily.
Thank you, Lily. And could you give me your surname now, please?
It's Claremont. That's spelt ClaremonT.
Is that last letter T for tango?
Yes.
Okay, I've got that. Now, I'm afraid I need to ask you for your date of birth, please.
No.
Why is he saying, I'm afraid I have to ask you for your date of birth?
I'm afraid I have to ask you. I don't know why he is afraid.
Because it's rude to ask a woman for her age.
Okay. Something related to etiquette.
Culture, traditions.
Yeah.
No problem. It's 23/4/89.
23.
Yeah, I catch the 23, but after that, 4 something.
Do you see it?
489. She didn't say 1989.
No, she said 23/4/89.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right, that's my birthday too. Though I'm a few years older than you. I was born in 85.
Really? It's a good day for a birthday, isn't it? The same day as Shakespeare's too. So, what else do you need to know?
Well, now, we need to move on to talk about the summer job you're after. I need to get some details from you about the kind of work you'd like. Firstly, let's think about dates. June to September, is it? That's what most people want.
I don't want to go on till September. I prefer to finish in August. I'd like a...
Now, are they going to write to September or to August?
Not to August. It will be from June to August.
Okay, perfect. So let's say to August here, because they just made the correction here. He said September, and then she shifted back.
Suggested.
So probably if you're in hurry, you're going to say to September, and that's going to be the wrong answer. And you need to understand the full picture. Not only understanding the full picture, but what is going to happen after that.
Yeah. Okay.
break before term starts again.
Fair enough. Okay.
What does he mean by fair enough?
يعني جيد جدا. Or that's very enough as an answer for the suggested period of summer working.
Okay.
Hey, and do you have strong feelings about where you work? London, a smaller town?
Actually, I've always wanted to work in Scotland.
Right. I'll see what we can do. And would you consider doing work abroad?
That would be fantastic. I didn't know you dealt with that sort of opportunity too. I'd like to go for that.
Okay. Now, where work wanted. Now, it refers back to the customer. She either wants to work in Scotland, and you gotta make sure to spell Scotland correct, or abroad, and you gotta make sure to spell the word abroad correct.
I got the Scotland, but I couldn't got the abroad because I have waited her to say the name of the abroad place.
Well, you're gonna zoom out to understand what they are talking about generally.
Yes, we do.
Actually, I've always wanted to work in Scotland.
Right. I'll see what we can do. And would you consider doing work abroad?
That would be fantastic. I didn't know you dealt with that.
Now, she didn't say, I like to work abroad. It was just a reaction saying fantastic. And our interpretation of the word fantastic here is to positively refer to her agreement with his statement of whether she likes to work abroad or not. So we're not directly transferring the answers from the conversation, but we are doing some conclusions based on what we hear.
Yeah.
I didn't write the word abroad directly quoting her, but understanding that the word fantastic means, yes, I like to work abroad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say you got to zoom out to look at the general picture here. Now, do you understand why we are practicing on this application? Because we can
Yes.
bring it back. Once you install it, you can listen multiple times. This example, once it's finished, it will give you the vaccine against any difficulty you will encounter in the listening section, just because they all follow the same pattern. 4 questions, 4 sections, or 4 parts, and for every part, they have different style of questions here.
Okay.
That sort of opportunity too. I'd like to go for that.
Yes, we do. We have contacts in all sorts of different places.
Great.
What does he mean by contact here? Sorry. Do you hear me, Osama?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. He means the contacting numbers with him or with the agency.
Representatives who have locations that have contact with him.
Okay, so now, do you have any particular type of work in your sites?
Okay, so when he's saying particular in British English, particular, it means, well, he's asking her for any kind of specific priorities that she has here. So the word particular, I like food, particularly
vegetables,
pizza or vegetables. So my priority of food is going to be vegetables because it's part of my particular section here.
Yeah.
I'd like a first and a second priority, please, to help us suggest what might suit you. Ideally, nothing too specific. Just say something like hotel work.
Now, once you say hotel work and you hear the word priority, you are going to plug in hotel work here. But that's not the right answer. That's his speech, not her speech. So since the type of work wanted is represented by the customer, not the agent, we need to listen to what comes next and what she says next.
Okay. Well, that doesn't appeal much to me, I'm afraid.
What does she mean by doesn't appeal to me?
Doesn't fit with her wanted, doesn't match
شنو
with
معنى
her
appeal?
desire.
شنو معنى appeal?
Appeal
يروق
يروق.
لي. That doesn't
غير مناسب.
appeal.
Not suitable. No.
Not suitable.
I guess the thing I'd like most...
Please, to help us suggest what might suit you. Ideally, nothing too specific. Just say something like hotel work.
Okay. Well, that doesn't appeal much to me, I'm afraid. I guess the thing I'd like most of all would be to work outside. I'd really rather not be stuck indoors all through the summer.
Okay, so what should we add here? What's the word?
She didn't mention the type of work, but she preferred to work outside the hotels, not to stick in the hotel all the summer.
Yeah, but she mentioned here, like the first priority, we have the word work. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Before the
So
word work, there is a space. We added outside in the space. Now, when we look at this structure of the question, we find that it's either going to be a noun or an adjective.
Oh, okay.
We have the word outside here.
That's the tricky, Waleed. That's the tricky that I want you to help me in, and you are doing now. So I'm always focusing on the name of the work, whether in the hotel.
They're not gonna listen, Osama, they're not gonna give you clear, ready answer for any question in IELTS. Because every question that is written in IELTS, it's written with the intention of tricking you. So there is no question with clear cut answer. So you extract it and you put it in there.
Okay.
There is no such a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I know what you mean. And your second priority? Teamwork, perhaps? Lots of people your age prefer that.
Yes, I'll go for that. I was going to say well-paid work, but in fact, money probably isn't as important for me as other things.
Right.
Okay. Now, what do you think should we do here for the second? Did you listen to that?
Teamwork. Teamwork.
Let's try again.
I'd really rather not be stuck indoors all through the summer.
Yes, I know what you mean. And your second priority? Teamwork, perhaps? Lots of people your age prefer that.
Yes, I'll go for that. I was going to say well-paid work, but in fact, money probably isn't as important for me as other things.
Right.
Okay, so should we write teamwork or just the word team?
Team, just team.
Okay, because it complements the word work.
Okay.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10.
Okay, let's quickly go through questions 8 to 10.
Yeah.
So A, which of these has Lily got? So we're just going to look here. Which of these has Lily got? So we'll listen carefully to the ones that Lily has. But remember, there is a margin of trickery here. أكو شوية حيلة بالموضوع.
Yeah.
They might not say good knowledge of a foreign language, but he's going to talk to her about how many languages she speaks. Right. And she's going to say, well, I have a rusty French or rusty Italian. So we just need to make sure we say either yes or no.
Okay.
For questions 8 to 10. Driving license, the ability to deal with public, which is communication. Driving license is the ability to drive a car. Sports, coaching qualifications, anything that has to do with athletic. Aspects, good computer skills. So maybe Microsoft, they're not going to say good computer skills. They're going to say, I have some skills in Microsoft, which refers back to computer skills. So they're not explicitly say that. Experience with work with young children and the ability to play a musical instrument. So probably they're going just to say, and for
deals with kids, good deals with kids.
And for music, she's not going to directly say musical instruments. She's going to say, well, I know how to play guitar or piano or something like that, flute or something.
Yeah.
So keep that. There's always the that whatever they say is not exactly a copy of what is written. They build on your understanding of synonyms because they need to measure how much you know of synonyms if you are dealing with academic setting.
All ielts exam built regarding the synonyms in reading and writing. We have not to repeat the same word. Everything related to synonyms.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they are going to give us some time, which we have already taken, but we have to wait for the recording to give us the time to go through that and then wait until they speak.
Yeah.
Now listen and answer questions 8 to 10.
I want you to give me
now
the options.
I need to find out a bit more about you and what skills you could bring to a job.
I want you to, while listening, give me the answers, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Not a lot, I'm afraid.
I'm sure that's not the case. For example, do you drive?
I'm learning at the moment. With any luck, I'll have my license by the summer. But I can't bank on it, of course.
Does she have a driving license?
No, she doesn't.
Okay, perfect.
Sure. So, what about your knowledge of languages?
I've got a bit of school French and Spanish, but I certainly don't speak them well. In fact, I can hardly do much more than order a meal in a restaurant. People say I'm great on the guitar, but I
Okay, so she didn't say music instruments. She said what? Osama, do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
She didn't
I
say
didn't
a musical instrument. She said guitar.
Mm.
So guitar is that people say I'm great at guitar. So she knows how to play guitar. She doesn't know any language. She doesn't speak any language. She doesn't have a driving license.
don't suppose that's likely to be relevant.
Oh, you never know. I'll certainly make a note of it. What about any previous work experience?
Well, when I was at school, I had a Saturday job working in a computer store. I didn't really enjoy it much as I was never that interested in IT, but I did have lots of contact with customers, of course.
Okay, so does she know how to play? Does she have good skills with computer
No, she didn't like to be as an IT.
and customers? They say deal with the public. So for
Yeah,
the
customers.
customers,
So she
she
has
didn't
C.
mention the word customers. She only mentioned the ability to deal with customers. She didn't mention the word with the public. So customers are considered equivalent
As
to
a public.
public.
Yeah.
And I got quite good at handling complaints, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Any other work experience?
Not paid work. But I did help with after-school swimming clubs when I was younger.
Do you have a certificate as an instructor?
No. But I helped several local primary schools and I really enjoyed it.
Now, when she mentions the word primary school, is that within the
means
category of
children.
young children?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's F.
And the proper coach said I was very good at it.
Okay, perfect. So that's a confirmation that she has experience working with young children.
That's good. Okay, that gives us quite a lot of good stuff to go on. Let me
Perfect.
have a search through our database and see.
Perfect. So they're going to be over with this conversation. We can just shift to the next list here of questions. So first of all, we need to have a quick idea about what's going on in here. So for questions 11 to 15, click on the correct answer and move into the space. So correct answer, and we move it into space.
Just like headings, right?
Kind of. So community center facility, football pitches, library, tennis courts, large hall, computer lab. Don't be tricked with these because these are the numbers of the paragraphs. Now for football pitches, we just need to make sure it's only available at weekends. Which one is more available at the weekends? Currently under repair, can be reserved online, recently extended, temporary not available, no booking is necessary. Which one of these do you think has no booking is necessary? ما إلها حجز. Football, the library, the tennis, the large hall.
I think 12 library.
عندنا افتراض بنسبة 25% انه تكون library وتكون ايضا computer lab. هذا مفتوح للكل. Okay, but we don't know. We'll see.
Part 2. You'll hear a man giving a talk about a local community centre. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
احنا already looked يعني واستنتجنا بس راح نبقى اعتمادا على conversation اللي ما راح يتحدثون بالضبط بهذا الترتيب ولا بهذه السينونيمز بهذه الكلمات. راح يستخدمون يعني بدل مثلا راح يقول لك احنا هنا شو نقول only available at weekends. شنو السينونيم مات weekends؟ نجي على بريطانيا الويكندز مالتهم مش وقت.
Sunday.
فممكن ممكن نسمع Sunday and Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay. هذا السينونيم فهذا خليه ببالك. Can
نعم.
be reserved online. ممكن شنو الطريقة الأخرى اللي نقدر نقول بها can be reserved online؟ ممكن can be
Booking
booked
via
on the
email.
website.
Yeah. Or
Booked on
booking
website.
through email. Yeah.
لا مو ايميل ما تصير يعني ماكو بوكينج بالايميل. Currently under repair. ممكن شنو الالترناتيف مالتها under construction.
Construction.
فاني اتصور انه راح يستخدم constructions.
نعم.
Recently extended. ممكن تكون renewed or expanded بدل extended. Temporary, not available. ممكن not existing or not provided. No booking is necessary. It's free access. بدل no booking is necessary. ممكن.
نعم.
فالفكرة, never assume that whatever you see here is going to be listened to in the listening. فدائما الlisteners بالايلتس يتصور انه راح يسمع وراح ينطى الايلتس كهديه. اوكي هذا هو اللي موجوده بهذه السمبلسيتي. لا، كل سؤال بيفيكه. وانت لاحظت لحد هاي النقطه انا كلش دا امشي بطيء وياك حتى تفهم انه الفكره مالت الليسننج شنو.
نعم.
هذا هو طبعا الويت تايم اللي ينطى نفسه بالضبط اللي ينطى بالتست. انت ماخذه ف يعني نفس التايم اللي ينطى بالتست حتى تاخذ general overview.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome to the Culport Community Centre.
ممكن انت هنا راح تقوم تفكر هذا شنو الكالبورت.
نعم.
راح تدوخ. هم دائما يستخدمون اسماء مركبه حتى يصير عند الطالب او المتدرب distraction. فهذا يسمونها عنصر التشتيت. يعني يستخدموا لك اسم روسي او اسم مركب او اسم غير شائع حتى يخليك واقف انت تريد تفهم هذا وين يعني احنا دائما حتى نفهم شيء لازم نعرفه جغرافيا وين موجود. ومرات هم دائما يعتمدون عليها فانت لا تركز على الاسم.
As you know, we are a secondary school during the day. However, we have a range of excellent facilities here, and we...
Now, what does he mean by the word facilities here? لازم نفهمها شنو facility.
الفاسيلتيز مرافق ترفيهية.
تمام.
believe it's our duty to make them available to the local community at times when they're not in use by our pupils. So I'm very glad to see so many of you here this evening to learn more about our facilities and what we have on offer this year. As last year, our football pitches are available at certain times for local clubs to use.
Okay. Well, طبعا, you're not going to have the privilege of pausing in the recording, but he says football pitches only available at the weekends, can be reserved online, currently under repair, recently extended, temporary not available, no booking is necessary.
They are, of course, used a great deal by our own pupils at weekends.
So, only available on weekends.
But there are some occasional Sunday afternoon slots free, as well as a number of evenings. As an experiment this year, we are allowing teams to make bookings for the use of a pitch on the school website.
Perfect. So it's not only available on weekends, no, but can be reserved online.
Yeah.
See?
If this works smoothly, then we may extend this to other facilities next year. Now, if you're not already a member of our library, then I would certainly recommend that you should join. We don't just have books there. We also have good collections of DVDs, and you are welcome to use the computers there. We have excellent broadband connections, and you can go online at no extra charge. The library building's just been renovated, and we've been able to build on an extra area at one end.
Okay, so extra area,
Recently extended. Recently extended.
recently extended.
Taking over a previous piece of waste ground. So we really are very proud of this facility, and we'd like you to come along and enjoy it too. We have 8 tennis courts available for your use here in the evenings and at weekends. There isn't usually an enormous demand for these, so you can just turn up and use them when you want to.
So turn up means show up and use them at any time. So they
let's say
are,
that again, Walid.
you can turn up and use them anytime. That means no booking is necessary. طبعا هو هذا يعني
What is
If
the
it
request?
eventually becomes a piece of
Terms-
waste ground. So we really are very proud of this
I will
facility,
repeat it.
and we'd like you to come along and enjoy it too. We have 8 tennis courts available for your use here in the evenings and at weekends. There isn't usually an enormous demand for these, so you can just turn up and use them when you want to. If it eventually becomes sensible to introduce a reservation system, then of course we'll do so. Our large school hall is popular with local drama clubs and has also been extensively used by
it said the
various clubs
reservation-
and private parties for a range of social events.
Okay. On this point, I have to stop here for the technical part. And I want you to install the application
Okay.
and try listening again and again and again and again to this between tonight and tomorrow. Tomorrow, if we have time, we'll get together and finish this. What I am going to send you, I already sent you the application, and I am sending you a manual of around 25 pages of instructions and tips on the listening section. There's hundreds of documents online, but I find this one really interesting because it walks you through every section with the listening written. So you don't have to listen. So you just, and it's highlighted.
Yes, it's much better.
Okay, what's in the listening section? The section number 1 is the conversation in everyday social setting, which is what we talked about. Section 2 is a monologue in an everyday social context. Section 3, a conversation in an educational or training context between 2 or more people. And section 4 is the lecture, which is considerably more complicated than the other 3 sections. There are 40 minutes, and then there are 40 questions. The questions have the shape of multiple choice, matching, plan, map, diagram, labeling, note completion, form completion, table completion, sentence completion, short answer questions, summary completions, and flaw chart completion. Any of these sections, section types may appear in any section. Not all types questions will appear in individual listening test. So you might see some, you might not see some. So for the multiple choice questions, which we have already covered part of it, this is the listening, but now it's written. And then there is an explanation of why choice B or A or C is the correct one based on part of this speaking that they did here that is highlighted in this color. So what I want you to do is 24 pages. Try to cover reading part of it. Once we dedicate some time tomorrow, we'll finish this section of the technical section of the test. Once you install it and you practice it on yourself with yourself, by yourself, then we transition to this one, cover some of the discussion about it. That is going to give you a better idea about the listening. So once you go take the test, you know that the listening is a matter of synonym comparison.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, we are good.
Great. I hope that you had
Waleed,
some
did you-
benefit from this exercise here.
I had a benefit. Thank you, Waleed. Your assistance is so appreciated from myself. Did you have time to check the writing 2 tasks that I have shared with you?
I will definitely send you the feedback because I was at work today. I just came back late. And then when you texted me, it was a little bit late for me just to give you the feedback. So I've been
Okay.
doing some priorities here. So you will definitely receive my feedback between tonight and tomorrow noon. Exactly.
Inshallah.
And then we can schedule another meeting for an hour tomorrow to complete the section here and the feedback for the listening. But I hope after doing this round of simulation of a test, you understand the philosophy behind the listening, that they are not asking you direct question. They're asking you indirect question, and they want you to read between the lines.
Yeah. I understand.
Are we clear?
Yeah,
No
we are clear.
question is going to be clearly given to you with the answer in the IELTS. There's always trickery in there.